There's a sport I've been doing for a very long time. Can you guess what it is based off this? If you said skiing, you would be right. This is a ski boot, and it's what I use to ski every day. This is my pair of skis. These skis have gotten me through so many things. I've been skiing for so many years. I don't remember what it's like to struggle in the sport I do. I remember when I started learning, it felt like skiing just clicked for me. Of course, I still had those hard times, but honestly, I can't even remember if I struggled or if I didn't struggle when learning how to ski. It's been so many years. I've been skiing for over 8 years. Until recently, a couple years ago, I started a new sport. And it was a challenge learning how to struggle in a new sport because I had already been doing another sport that I had been so good at. I found myself struggling in a new sport and I didn't know how to cope with it. So what sport did I end up doing? Well, it's track and field. And how I got into it was my sophomore year, sitting at home bored, and I said, I don't know what I should do. I'm really bored. And my mom looked at me and she said, you should sign up for a school sport. So I went onto our school page and saw that spring sports were the next one available. And I signed up for track and field. I was so nervous for my first practice because I didn't know anyone and I didn't know how practice would work. But I still mustered up the courage and walked into track practice. And there I met two of my best friends. They helped me understand what practice would look like and what competitions would look like. They also helped me during my first competition because I was so lost and didn't know what to do. But I kept going to practice, and soon my first ever competition rolled around. And there I was, all of a sudden, standing in my blocks for my 100-meter race. I remember staring at my hands near the start line and thinking, how did I end up here? Am I even ready for this? Am I going to get out of my blocks? Am I going to fall? And then the horn went off, and there I was, running, pumping my arms, pumping my legs, and feeling that burn in your chest and lungs. I remember thinking, man, that finish line looks really far away. Then all of a sudden, I whooshed past the finish line, and there I was standing at the end. And I remember thinking, man, I just completed my first ever competition run. That was fun. And then after the competition was over, I looked at my time and saw I got dead last. I got last place in my run. I had the lowest time. I had the longest time running, so I was in last place. And I remember thinking, man, I really suck at track. And I was thinking to myself, do I even want to do track? I'm really bad at it. And I talked to my mom and I said, I don't know if I want to do track. I'm really bad at it. I got last place. And also in my long jump, I also got last place. And my mom looked me in the eyes and said, do you care about being good in this sport? Or are you just having fun doing it? I remember thinking, I am having fun doing it even though I'm really bad at it. She said, do you like the adrenaline you get at the start when you're in your blocks before the race? And I said, yeah, I do. I do really like that adrenaline. And she said, so what's the problem? Why do you want to quit? And I said, well, I'm embarrassed that I'm last. And she said, who cares about your score besides yourself? And I said, I don't think anyone is looking at my score besides me. She said, yeah. She said, do you enjoy going to practice and working out and hanging out with your friends? I said, yeah. She's like, do you enjoy long jump and running? And I said, yeah. And she said, so why would you quit? Even though you might not be the best, you're still having fun. And I said, you're right. I am having fun. So why would I quit? I let that self-doubt creep in about being too embarrassed that I'm not good at something because I had been so good at a sport for so long. I had been so good at skiing for so long, I forgot what it was like to struggle in a sport. And as time went on, I got better at track. I am definitely not the greatest person in track, but I've gotten so much better, and I want to show you my first ever varsity meet that I got to do during my junior year in high school. It was my first ever varsity meet, and I honestly just got it because we didn't have enough long jumpers, but I remember I got my biggest PR of the season at that competition. Here it is.
There she goes.
Oh, she jumped from the second.
That was my jump, and I got a PR, which is personal best, of 11 feet and 5 inches. And my previous personal best was 10 feet and 9 inches, I think. And I remember thinking, wow, this was my first varsity meet, and I made a big PR. And there I was at another varsity competition, and I did another PR. And even though I might not be the best at track, I continued with it, and I slowly kept getting better and better. And in no means am I the best in my group. I'm actually still the worst long jumper in our varsity meets, but I'm still doing it because I love it. And I wanted to share this story with you guys because I want you guys to also know that it's okay to do something even though you suck at it. The thing that matters is that you're having fun doing it. It doesn't matter if you're good at the sport or good at what you're doing. Are you having fun doing it? Because that's all that matters. And I want to share that lesson with you because joining track helped me realize that lesson.